So let me go back, a little bit. We kind of are talking about your early years, but even going back further, like where were your parents from? And I'm asking that question because as Black Americans, through all the historical stuff, there's many of we don't have the same connection historically that some other ethnicities or cultures do.
The old country.
Right. Some people can. I've met friends over my X amount of years, and they can they'll be able to trace their family back to a seal, and I'm like, what do you mean a seal? And they're like, oh yeah, well back in such and such in this country, my great blah blah blah, and I'm like, so you have like a family
crest.
Seal or crest or shield. So I know we can't go but so far back, and then I know I started asking questions, sometime, family questions is, well, where do we come from, right? I just know Chester, I know Morton, but where is our family from? So if you can expand on that and share what you may know from, your parents, where they came from. You mentioned Haverty Grace, I heard that piece before, but, your father and your grandfather, et cetera. So where are your families from? And then you can take it in any order, however you want to, jump out there.
Let Margaret go.
I'll start by saying we didn't ask enough questions. We didn't ask enough questions. And I always encourage, when I work with the kids, ask questions. Ask your grandparents and your great-grandparents, while they're alive, what their situation was, where they came from. I know a little. I know that most of my parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents were born in North Carolina. That I do know. I know the person who made some of the bloodlines, the Woodards bloodline intermingle with Caucasian and Black, whatever. We do know some of that.
Tell that story, baby.
I'm not going to tell that story. But we know we're all mixed somehow back in the history of, and we can go back, and I can go back to, I can go back to slavery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can go back to slavery. I can go back to when we got the 40 acres and the mule. I can go back to how my great-grandfather was cheated out of that reparation, and how he was threatened.
Because that was a part of, if I'm not mistaken, right, emancipation,
right,
and the Reconstruction, right,
yep.
That every Black American, was it, that was supposed to be granted.
Well, that was the promise.
That was the promise.
40 acres and a mule.
40
acres and a mule.
And one mule.
Yep.
So, because I remember as a teenager, Spike Lee.
Yep.
Right. He kind of made that
documentary
famous,
kind of, yeah.
Right. And
that was a production company. Yeah.
Right.
So that was the first time, going through school. Right. I was by that point 10th, 11th grade, and I had never heard 40 acres and a mule.
Yes.
So that's where that came from. Is right. Every descent. Wow. And you didn't get, nobody got the acres of the mule?
My great-grandfather did.
Okay, good. Very good. So your family was an agricultural family?
Agricultural family, yes.
Absolutely. Growing up,
farmers,
especially in the South,
yes,
farmers. So that's a unique experience because I don't think we have many farms.
Very, very segregated up, like I said, up until 1960. I graduated in 1969. Up until after I graduated in the 1970s, did they start forced busing to try to integrate. They had freedom of choice, which nobody wanted to go this way and nobody wanted to go that way. So then they started having forced busing.
Gotcha.
And then it became kind of integrated, whatever. Yeah. But anyway, my family descents of the South.
Okay. And everyone's from that you said North Carolina?
Yes.
Right.